How Venture Smith bought his freedom after years of slavery. Where are you watching from? Tell me your city and your country in the comments. And before we begin this powerful story, please subscribe, like, and share this video so we can reach more people and uncover the truth that history tried to hide. This is the story of Venture Smith, a man who refused to remain a slave in both body and mind. A story that begins far away from the land where he would later fight for freedom. In a rich African land filled with strength, honor, and tradition, he was born not as Venture Smith, but as Brotier Furo, a prince among his people, the son of a respected leader. His childhood was filled with discipline, wisdom, and preparation for leadership. He learned the ways of the land, the meaning of courage, and the value of dignity. But one night, everything changed. The silence of the village was broken by screams. Fire lit up the sky. Men with weapons stormed the land, capturing the young and killing the weak. Brotier watched as his world burned before his eyes. He was bound, beaten, and dragged away. The journey to the coast was long and filled with fear. Many did not survive. Those who did were packed into a dark ship where the air was thick and hope was thin. This was his first taste of slavery, the endless ocean journey where time seemed frozen and pain became normal. When the ship finally reached land, he was no longer Brotier. He was renamed, stripped of identity, and sold like an object. His new name was Venture, and though his body was enslaved, something inside him refused to break. He observed everything. He listened carefully. He learned the language of his captors. He understood that survival required patience, but deep inside, he made a silent promise. He would not die a slave, no matter how long it took, no matter what it cost. He would one day buy back his life, even if the world said it was impossible. And as the years passed, Venture worked under harsh conditions, lifting heavy loads, enduring punishments, and watching others give up hope. But he did not. Every coin he could earn, every chance he could take, he began to plan, quietly, carefully, building something no one could see, a path to freedom that only he believed in. And even when others mocked him, saying no slave could ever buy his freedom, Venture only smiled, because he knew something they did not. Freedom was not given, it was taken, and he was preparing for the moment to take it. Venture's life as a slave was filled with trials that would break most men, but he turned each hardship into a lesson. He worked for different masters, some cruel, some calculating, none willing to see him as human. Yet Venture saw beyond them. He realized that strength alone would not win his freedom. He needed strategy. He needed patience. And he needed to think differently. While others focused only on surviving the day, Venture was thinking years ahead. He began to find ways to earn small amounts of money, doing extra work whenever possible, carrying goods, trading small items, and saving every single coin. He denied himself comfort. He ate less, rested less, and worked more, not because he was forced, but because he had a goal, and that goal was stronger than his pain. But the path was not easy. There were moments when everything he saved was taken, moments when he was cheated, moments when hope felt distant. Yet each time he fell, he rose again, stronger and wiser. One day he made a bold decision. He approached his master and asked to buy his freedom. The request was met with laughter, disbelief, and anger. How could a slave even think such a thing? But Venture did not back down. He negotiated. He offered every coin he had and promised more. His determination surprised even those who owned him. They began to see that this was not an ordinary man. This was someone who would not stop, and so a deal was made. But it was a cruel one. The price was set high, almost impossible to reach. It was designed to break his spirit and to make him give up, but Venture accepted it without hesitation. Because he had already made up his mind, he would pay any price for freedom, and so began the most intense period of his life. He worked day and night, pushing his body beyond limits, taking risks, making trades, learning skills. He became not just a laborer, but a thinker, a planner, a man who understood value. And slowly, painfully, the coins began to add up. But when it seemed like he was close, disaster struck. He was sold again, moved to another master. His progress shattered, his plan disrupted. Many would have given up at this point. Many would have accepted that freedom was a dream. But Venture refused. He started again, from nothing, rebuilding his path with even more determination. And this time, he was not just chasing freedom, he was chasing justice. Because every step he took was not just for himself, but for every person who believed they were trapped forever. The years passed, and Venture became something rare among slaves, a man with a purpose that could not be erased. His reputation grew, not just as a strong worker, but as a man who could be trusted, a man who could handle responsibility, and he used this to his advantage. He negotiated better opportunities. He took on work that allowed him to earn more, and he guarded his savings with extreme care. Every coin was a step closer to freedom. Every sacrifice was a piece of his future. But the closer he got, the more dangerous things became. There were people who noticed his progress, people who wanted to stop him. Some tried to cheat him, others tried to steal from him. And there were even whispers that a slave with too much ambition was a threat. But Venture was always one step ahead. He kept his plans quiet. He trusted very few, and he never allowed fear to control him. Then came the moment that would change everything. After years of struggle, pain, and relentless effort, he gathered enough money to meet the price set for his freedom. But even then, there was uncertainty. Would his master honor the deal, or would they change the rules again, keeping him trapped forever? The tension was unbearable. The moment felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, with everything on the line, and then, finally, the agreement was accepted. Venture Smith bought his freedom. A moment that should have been simple was instead filled with emotion, disbelief, and quiet triumph. He was no longer property. He was a free man. But freedom did not mean rest. It meant responsibility. It meant rebuilding a life that had been taken from him. And he did not stop there. He continued to work, to earn, to grow. He bought land. He built a life. And most importantly, he used his freedom to help others. He worked to free his family, to give them the same chance he fought so hard to earn. But even in freedom, the world was not easy. There were still dangers, still challenges, still people who did not accept him as equal. Yet Venture faced it all with the same strength that carried him through slavery, because he understood something powerful. Freedom is not just a moment. It is a continuous fight, and he was ready for it. Venture Smith's story did not end with his freedom. It evolved into something greater, a legacy that would challenge everything people believed about slaves and freedom. He became a symbol of what determination can achieve, a man who proved that even in the darkest conditions, the human spirit can rise. He told his story not to seek praise, but to reveal truth, to show the world the reality of slavery and the strength it takes to overcome it. His life became a lesson, not just for his time, but for generations to come. He showed that freedom is not given by others. It is claimed through courage, sacrifice, and unbreakable will, and yet his story remains unpredictable even to this day, because it forces us to ask questions. How many others had the same strength but never got the chance? How many dreams were lost in silence? How many stories were never told? Venture's journey was not just about buying his freedom. It was about reclaiming his identity, his dignity, and his future. And in doing so, he rewrote the narrative that had been forced upon him. He refused to be defined by chains. He refused to accept limits. And in the end, he became more than just a man who escaped slavery. He became a reminder that even in the worst circumstances, hope can survive. And when hope survives, anything is possible. His story is not just history. It is a challenge to think, to question, and to understand the true meaning of freedom. Because freedom is not just about being unchained. It is about having the power to shape your own destiny. And Venture Smith did exactly that. Against all odds, against all expectations, he rose, and in rising, he changed the story forever. Welcome to Slavery in America, a place where hidden history comes to life. Tell us where you are watching from, your city and your country. And if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe and like this channel so we can continue bringing powerful stories like this to you and to the world.